I
You
have
know,
to say, having the experience of having grown up in a house with a practicing magician, it didn't seem like it at the time, but it really helped me in terms of the place we are in our culture, you know.
so that's the
But
second time you've brought this up, Kemper. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about that? I mean, you have some acquaintance with the occult because of this, it sounds like.
yeah, my father, who became a missionary, actually, but prior to that, he was practicing. They call themselves men of power. They don't say warlocks or anything like that, but they normally take one disciple for their lives, and sometimes a woman is involved, and they're extremely powerful in like, for instance, my dad was a coach, and his team would just beat the dog out of the other teams because he would read the opposing quarterback's mind and tell his team what was going on. And I'd seen him drive nails into his leg and pull it out, and it just heal up immediately. And he would go in people's dreams all the time, and just all that kind of stuff. And when the Jesus movement happened, which I was in one of the earlier portions of, and I went to my house, after I'd had this, actually became a serious Christian out of that. It set up a tremendous conflict in my house, not so much between my dad and me, but the spiritual atmosphere was like just arcs of lightning and stuff. And my dad eventually repented and confessed his sin before the church because he was a deacon. That was another
Oh
thing he
wow!
would
So
do.
so this is in the United States.
Yeah,
What state?
Texas. This is in
So
San
this is
Antonio.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of this particular phenomenon, men of power, so this is a thing that's still going on.
Yeah, I saw one. The only one I've ever seen besides my father was in a restaurant here in Houston, and this guy walked in and he had his disciple and a woman with him and so forth. Man, he walked in and they they looked dead over at me because somehow they could tell that I knew what they were. But man, they just emanate massive amounts of power, and they're really scary. I mean, they're scary people.
So when you say you were able to recognize them, you're just talking about this and not some kind of way of dressing or anything.
No, they looked very conservative actually, and the guy himself, the man of power himself, was dressed in a three-piece suit and all this kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I think I had my back to him when they walked in, but the presence of the darkness was so forceful that I turned around, and looked at him. And
Well, this is something I can relate to. I mean, there are episodes in my own life that there was a profound sense that there were more creatures present than were physically in the room. And but for people who've not had that, I don't know if it's possible to really communicate what that's like.
that's exactly right. I mean, the first thing is you have to be open to the possibility that there might be such things, and
Yeah.
and if you're not, if you don't even believe that that's possible, then even unless you have some sort of overwhelming experience, you just dismiss it out of hand, which is understandable. I mean, we spend our whole lives being uh, acculturated into ignoring that stuff, especially in the church, which is
Yeah.
really weird. But the thing is, not everybody is spiritually equipped to tell that. I mean, my whole family was spooky. That's when my dad was in witchcraft and stuff, and but everybody, it's like not everybody's not an athlete either. But
Right.
you can train yourself to be a better athlete, than you are. And the same thing is true, I think, for spiritual phenomenon. If you can support that in scripture, then you should be open to the experience of that, And So
And related to this, I think a person who might be slow to come along on this might say, well, the cure then is to not be able to see it and you won't have a problem. But we know that's not actually the case. There are people who have influence over us right this very minute that we're not aware of through various media and stuff like that. And so because we're unaware, we're not, on the defense. And being taken advantage of. And the same thing can be true in this respect.
Sure.
You think you're just encountering a person who's got some mysterious charisma, but in fact, what you are being done is you're being taken advantage of in some way.
Absolutely.